The roots of this supernatural wonder trace back to the golden era of Satya Yuga, when the highly glorious king of Malwa and supreme devotee of Lord Vishnu, King Indradyumna, was visited in a dream by Parabrahma Narayan himself. The supreme divine ordered the king to venture into the hidden caves of the dense forests of Neelanchal mountain to locate the Param Vigrah of Lord Neel Madhav. Param Vigrah meaning the living, physical and supernatural manifestation of God himself, which illuminated the entire cosmos with its deep sapphire-like aura. The existence of this sacred form was kept a fierce secret from the world, worshipped in absolute isolation by Viswavasu, the chief of the local tribal community, known as the Shabars. This was no ordinary quest. It was a profound psychological battlefield between political cunning and unblemished innocent devotion. To uncover the secret route, the king's clever priest Vidyapati married Lalita, the beautiful daughter of the tribal chief. Only then did Chief Viswavasu agreed to guide his son-in-law to see Neel Madhav. However, bound by the strict laws of tribal secrecy, the chief tied a thick blindfold over Vidyapati's eyes so he could never map the path to the cave. But the cunniest priest devised a brilliant counter-strategy. He hid wild mustard seeds in his robes and subtly dropping them along the trail as they walked. When the monsoon arrived, those seeds sprouted into bright yellow flowers, exposing the highly classified path to the hidden cave for the first time. Yet the moment King Indradyumna arrived at the cave with his royal entourage to claim the deity, the divine script flipped. Offended by the king's transactional approach, which lacked true egoless surrender, Neel Madhav vanished into the thin air, leaving the cave entirely vacant. Overwhelmed by grief and spiritual guilt, the king sat on the ocean shore, entering a state of absolute fasting, his tears soaking the earth. Suddenly, a deep celestial voice echoed from the cosmos. "O king, do not despair. I will not manifest in this form of stone or gemstone. Go to the shores of the ocean, where you will find a Maha-Daru, massive sacred log of white sandalwood floating upon the waves, imprinted with the divine cosmic symbols of the Shankha, the conch, chakra, the discus, and gada, the mace, and Padma, the lotus. Fashion my sacred form from that holy wood." The king rushed to the shore with his entire military force. The massive log was indeed floating upon the waves, but destiny had one final trial of humility waiting. Blinded by the illusion of his royal stature and physical power, the king arrogantly commanded his forces. His entire four-tiered army, hundreds of mighty war elephants, and the kingdom's strongest mallas, elite heavyweight wrestlers, attempted to haul the log ashore. Yet despite monumental physical efforts, that ordinary-looking piece of wood did not move a single inch. The king's royal pride, his physical might, and his massive ego utterly crushed by the divine timber. As he sat helpless on the sand, the truth finally pierced his consciousness. Where human ego fails, only absolute surrender and pure devotion can succeed. When the tribal chief Viswavasu was brought to the site with honor and he touched the log with simple, unadulterated love, colossal timber became as light as a single drop of water, moving effortlessly. The next crisis arose in shaping this divine wood. The moment the chisels and the saws of the kingdom's greatest sculptors touched the timber, their iron tools shattered like fragile glass. The wood remained without a single scratch. It was then that an intentionally radiant, mysterious old craftsman materialized in the royal court. He was no ordinary mortal, but Lord Vishwakarma himself, the divine architect of the cosmos. He was in a disguise of an old man. He placed an incredibly strict mandate before the king. I will construct these deities within 21 days. However, I will work in absolute isolation behind sealed doors. If anyone dares to open the doors before the 21st day, I shall vanish in the air instantly, leaving the task incomplete. The heavy doors were sealed. From within, only the faint, rhythmic tap-tap of a hammer and the chisel emerged, offering solace to the king's anxious heart. On the 14th day, the sound suddenly ceased. A terrifying, heavy silence enveloped the chamber. Queen Gundicha grew deeply anxious. Overwhelmed by maternal worry, she feared the old craftsman might have succumbed to starvation or thirst. Yielding to the queen's intense emotional pressure, King Indradyumna broke his royal vow and forced open the sealed doors. As the doors swung open, the king froze in an absolute horror. The chamber was entirely empty. The old man had dissolved into the air. On the floor sat three incomplete wooden structures: Lord Jagannath, his brother Balabhadra, and their sister Subhadra. The sacred forms were there, but they had no hands, no feet, and their massive circular eyes were left completely unfinished. Plunged into an ocean of profound guilt for ruining the divine manifestation, the king was about to end his own life when Lord Narayan comforted him with a cosmic realization. O king, do not grieve. This is not an accident. It is my preordained will. I wish to manifest before the world in this abstract, incomplete form, so that humanity understands the eternal truth, that without hands or feet, I still govern and move the entire universe. And these massive, unblinking eyes symbolize that I gaze upon my creation continuously with infinite grace and compassion. This is how the Daru Brahma was manifested. Daru Brahma meaning the Supreme Infinite Lord, encapsulated within an earthly wooden shell. Yet the mystery deepens even further. Every 12 years, these deities undergo a highly classified ritual known as Nava-Kalevara. Nava-Kalevara, which translates to the attainment of a new body, mirroring the exact cosmic process where a soul discards an old, decaying body to enter a fresh physical form. On that specific dark night, the entire electrical grid of Puri city is completely shut down. The atmosphere is plunged into pitch black darkness. Armed forces establish a tight three-tier security perimeter around the temple. Only the head priest enters the pitch dark inner sanctum, his eyes tightly covered with a thick blindfold and his hands wrapped in a heavy silk gloves. Stripping the chest of the old deity, he extracts a highly divine, continuously pulsating and intentionally energized core and transplants it deep into the chest of the newly carved wooden body. This core is the Brahma Padartha. Priests who have performed this transition state that the object feels like a living, vibrating entity fluttering into their hands. The ancient protocol warns that if anyone looks at with the naked eye or touches it without insulation, the sheer intensity of its energy could cause their physical body to disintegrate, dissolving their life force instantly into the great void. Up to this point, you have walked with me through the grand mythological lore that has anchored human faith for millennia. But now, expand your intellectual horizon. It is time to analyze these very anomalies through the lens of modern physics, advanced architecture, and quantum mechanics, unveiling a perspective never written in standard history books. For what we casually dismiss as a miracle is almost always the manifestation of a highly advanced ancient science that has been lost to time. I am Sudesh Shukla and you are watching KathaVaani, the sacred stories decoded. To remain a part of this investigative journey, decoding the deepest and the most spine-chilling mysteries of history, faith, and modern science, subscribe to the channel right away. Until then, keep watching. Jai Jagannath.